Hey, Mom.
Good morning. Today's demonstration is how to draw a bottle in correct perspective in your sketchbook in preparation for learning how to use colored pencil. First thing we're going to do is draw a straight line, and you can do this right along with me, from top to bottom, filling your whole sketchbook page. So make a line here in here that will represent the top of your bottle and the bottom of your bottle, and then holding your pencil loosely, create multiple straight lines from top to bottom until you actually get one that's truly parallel to the sides of your page. So that might take a minute because we haven't really had a chance to practice our straight lines. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is probably the hardest part of this lesson, and that's determining the height of the neck of the bottle in comparison to the body of the bottle. And what we're going to use is, as a visual measuring tool, is our pencil. What I want everyone to do is close one eye and measure with your pencil completely vertical, like pretend like there's a line from the ceiling to the floor, and your pencil has to be completely vertical or perpendicular to the floor. You're going to close one eye, hold your pencil up, and actually visually measure the height of the top of your bottle from here to here. So you're going to visually measure the neck of your bottle here. So the way that looks is you have it on your table, close one eye so you don't get like a double vision, and then see how many times from your point of view the height of the neck of the bottle fits into the entire bottle from top to bottom. This is the trickiest part, okay? So the best thing that you can do is sit up straight, be facing your paper with your desk tilted if possible. I know if you're doing this at home you can't do that. Keep your bottle like at a determined distance. You don't want to move it back and forth or pick it up and kind of measure it in front of your face. Figure out that height, and then move your pencil down from the top of the bottle to the bottom and see how many times you can replicate that height through the height of your bottle. So for instance, if you take a look up here, here is 1, and then I'm moving my pencil down without moving my finger, 2, 3. From my point of view, the neck of the bottle fits 3 times in the entire height of the bottle. So that means that the neck of the bottle is 1/3 the height of the entire bottle, from my point of view. But I'm standing above my bottle. What happens when you move your bottle higher? That proportion, or that size of the neck, or height of the neck, decreases. It's not as big, right? It's not as long. So 1, 2, 3. That's the height, from my point of view, of the neck of the bottle compared to the body. So this is the neck, and this is the body. Okay? The next thing I want to do is I am going to draw a symmetrical sphere right underneath that neck. That is going to represent this, which appears to be a hemisphere. It's easier to draw a sphere than it is to draw a hemisphere, because you'll have like flowing lines And then, after that, you're drawing a cylinder. So you're going to have to practice your straight lines on the sides, practice your ellipse. Remember, the bottom of that bottle isn't flat. It's going to be curved like a smiley face. And since your bottle is translucent, it's actually a good thing to show the back line of the bottom of the bottle. Good. Good. I know it's hard, but try to do it this way. And then, since you're ready, you might want to move your feet this way a little bit, and then you're more likely to see the straight line that way. Okay. It looks like everybody's doing really great with that. So here's your bottom cylinder. Now we're going to create another cylinder for the top. And that center line is helpful because it's my line of symmetry. So I'm going to create two vertical lines, and both lines should be equally distant and straight with this center line, just like that. Once you have those two straight lines, you're going to create shoulders to your bottle. What happens lots of times is students end up with a right angle that connects their sphere with their the neck of the bottle. But if in reality, if it were a true right angle at this corner, it would break because it's glass. So it's actually angled. So you're just going to angle the top of that neck . Okay, now that we have that, I'm going to teach you how to draw the mouth of the bottle, which this is considered the mouth right here. Okay, this part. What I'd like you to do, instead of putting it right on the bottle, is I would like you to practice it off to the side a little larger first, and then once you're comfortable with the shape, then you could put a smaller version on here. But it's really kind of hard to do tiny at first, because we're going to incorporate something called foreshortening. And we're going to do that by drawing the thickness of the glass. And you need to have a pretty sharp pencil for this. So what you're going to do is create a really good ellipse first. Okay? And then you're going to create a second ellipse that's almost overlapping, but slightly lower. So watch this. You know, that's actually just almost one ellipse with a lot of searching lines. But there's a couple ellipses there, okay? Then, what you're going to do is really just show the outline. This is the top of the bottle, the outline of that thickness of glass. And I want the back line to be shorter than the front. So this is this thickness right here. That gives me depth and shows a sense of space. So what we're shortening is foreshortening is to make areas that are closer to you larger in order to show a sense of depth. Where students tend to go wrong with this is they tend to create flat tires, like this. You don't want your ellipses to be flat on the top and the bottom. You want them to be steadily curved. Then, after you're done with that, two parallel lines. Now I'm showing this part right here, showing this part, and this part. And look really close. See how there's an overhang there? When the lights are down, that little overhang is enough to have a cast shadow on the neck of your bottle. So, what I need to do is create a curve that's the same as this curve. And with a slight overhang. And you can do that any way you want. You can make like a second ellipse for it if you want. And that's what the neck looks like. So take a minute and try to draw the neck. Once you've practiced it off to the side, this is how you transfer this to this. You're going to redraw it, but make sure that the top line of your bottle isn't straight. A lot of people make this mistake, and they make that kind of straight border line the top of their ellipse. You want to make sure that ellipse is curved. And then I'm working on showing the thickness of the glass right now. making sure my back line is narrower than my front line. Here we go. Making sure my top ellipse isn't wider than my top cylinder of my bottle. And then I'm slimming down the neck of the bottle so there's a slight overhang. I'm readjusting the curves on my ellipses to make sure they're all symmetrical. Now I know. I'm just checking. I need a back line on the bottom of my bottle. Once I have this and my bottle is symmetrical, my lines are parallel, my ellipse, I have a nice ellipse whose center line is parallel with the top and the bottom of my page. I have a little overhang here. I'm showing foreshortening for the thickness with the thickness of my glass. Now I know I'm ready to trace on colored paper. So this is going to be a colored pencil drawing on colored paper, kind of like this. And so what you want to do is basically just make sure you have all of those categories. And then you're ready to trace. You can pick any colored paper. I just have to have blue in hand, but obviously you're not going to use green paper if you have a green bottle or blue paper if you have a blue bottle. Rip out your drawing. Put your finished bottle underneath. We're not going to do cast shadows for these, but you want to make sure that your lines are parallel. If your first drawing is correct, you can actually just line up your two papers like this and then trace at the light table. If we had a sunnier day, the window would work, but considering this is colored paper, it's only going to be able to be traceable on a sunny day. Right in the back corner of the room next to the sink, there's a light table, and so you'll really be able to see. You would pick a color, like if my bottle is green, I'm going to pick a green colored pencil, which is over where the art supplies are, next to where we keep our bottles. You're going to not trace in graphite, but you're going to trace in colored pencil. If you have a clear bottle, you can use silver or any color that you might happen to see in your bottle, and then trace it out. You don't have to trace your center line. I would just trace those lines that I have darkened. If you have a label, you're going to want to draw it, but you don't have to draw what's on your label. Let me show you how to draw the label. You're going to make two ellipses, and actually, you might even have less work if you have a label than if you don't, because there's less reflections. Okay? You're going to erase your center line, and the bottom curve of your label needs to follow this bottom curve of your bottle. So watch this. I created two ellipses. One ellipse represents the top, and one represents the bottom. Depending on the perspective, I'm making straight lines that are parallel to the sides of the bottle, and I erase the lines where my label is not. So that gives me a solid label and correct perspective. Some of you might have two labels, and of course this has to reach. If you have two labels, it might look something like that. So the part that I'm coloring in, you're not actually going to color yours in graphite, but the part that I'm coloring in just represents the inside, like the translucency of the bottle. And this part represents the label that you see that's on top of the glass. Okay? Any questions? Okay. So you're going to practice drawing your bottle, and then whenever you're done, feel free to come up, pick paper, and trace. Okay?